Welcome back to the Jane Austen 250th Anniversary Block of the Month Sew-Along. I'm Cindy Cloward, and today we are working on the London block. Last month we worked on the Berkshire block. I have finished all 4 blocks. Congratulations if you finished all your blocks. If you're not quite done, keep on going. This content is evergreen, and catch up to the London block. So I love London, and so did Jane Austen. London was Jane Austen's home away from home in her later years. She frequently visited her brother Henry and attended the theater, visited shops, and met with her publishers. This allowed her to experience London's vibrant social scene and inspire detailed descriptions of fashionable city life. So let's show the London blocks. This block right here, I have previously hand appliqued. You can see there's a lot of detail in this block. So this is block number 2. This is block number 3. And there is opportunity to fussy cut and on these blocks. I did fussy cut this print right here, and that's the Jane Austen family crest, the stag. So that's kind of fun if you want to fussy cut in this particular block. And then this is block number 3, and today we are working on the first block, and you previously downloaded the pattern on our website, and we're working on pages number 26 through 28, the London block. So I'm going to put my pattern over here, and I previously prepped this particular block, and it's all ready to go. You can see there's lots of teeny little circles, so you're going to get really used to sewing and appliquing circles. So we are just working on 2 new Sew Simple shapes this time. This is the V6 circle. It's teeny, don't lose that one. And we're working on V22. That's a new flower shape. We've previously done this shape. I think this is a V1. We've done that shape before, and of course we've done that before. We just worked on the Berkshire block previously, so that's the same circle there. So we've already made our bias tape. You just need to cut your bias tape. There is 2 different sizes for the bias tape this time. You need 4 of 3 1/4, and then 4 of 2 3/4 of bias tape. So that's all been prepped, and we're ready to go. You can see in these circles there is opportunity for more fussy cutting. So again, our sew-in interfacing is a little see-through, and I've kind of put this little shape from the reproduction fabric in the center of that circle. You can see I put that little leaf, or that little kind of flower, snowflake looking, in the center of this circle, and this one I have not fussy cut. So you can choose if you want to center certain images, and how you do that is you've got your fusible interfacing. We've talked about this before, and you can kind of just put it in the center. So I'm going to put that shape like this in the center of there and adjust it slightly, and I'm going to sew it like this. This I'm not going to fussy cut. It doesn't require it or need it, so that's good to go. So I'm just going to demonstrate 2 of these shapes with this circle. You might even want a little tighter. I'm going to put my stitch length 1.75, just tighten up that stitch length, and we're just going to work really slowly around that circle to get as smooth edge as possible. And so I just adjust my presser foot. I kind of lift it and just ease around it every 2 or 3 stitches. Just take your time. This is not a rush quilt or a quilt block. The London block takes a little more time. It's a little more complicated, right? The city's a little more complicated, so we had to do something interesting for the London block, right? Okay, we're easing on around, and we've come to our stitches. We're just crossing those stitches about 3 or 4. Okay, I've stitched around there, and you can see that, again, it's not fussy cutting per se, it's fussy positioning of the interfacing. I keep saying fussy cutting, but we're positioning that interfacing so we get a consistent same image there. So that's kind of what we're going for. Okay, so this, I'm gonna start on the straight side, go down to that point there, and then I'm gonna pivot. And again, these are tight corners, so I'm gonna take like three stitches, and I'm going to just adjust my presser foot and pivot around. Now I'm coming into that cleavage, and I hit it right on. If you don't hit it right on, you can adjust your fabric or your stitches. Okay, we're coming back to where we started, just going across there. All right. Again, you know the drill. I cut slightly less than, the pattern says 1/4 inch less because it's just such a teeny little circle. So you're gonna do less. So this is what it looks like trimmed out like that. Go around our bends, go down into that cleavage, clip close to those threads, but not through. Okay, we're gonna clip off our point there. And then we're gonna cut right on the edges there. Okay, let's turn them right side out. Now I'm gonna kind of cut, I'm gonna do 3 cuts, straight cuts into those curved areas and then down there. And then I'm just gonna make a teeny little X on these, this little teeny circle. You're gonna be glad we saved this block until later. We started with a ambitious block with cotton block, and then gave you a little bit of break, and now we've brought you back to a pretty ambitious block. Okay, to turn this right side out, I put my finger in that center part first, and I flip it out, just pushing with my thumb. Then I do those 2 sides like that. And now we're going to get that tip. So it's pulled out pretty well. Get my, again, the slower you do on your prep work, the less work you have to do on your applique, but you know, the goal is to get really smooth edges and no poke out portions. Oh, and then the tip, we want that tip popped out like that. And again, I work on the inside of the seam. On that interfacing side, I can push much harder on that side, but I do go on the fabric side and I just push a little less on that side. And that is looking pretty good. Look at those circles, they're looking pretty good, those little curves there. Okay, let's turn this teeny little shape. Now these are just fiddly, you know, they're just small and fiddly, and it's gonna take a little patience to get all these little circles, because you're gonna do 12 for each one of these London blocks. So I kind of pull it out like this. And you might need to press it. I think I might need to press it. So let's give it a press. warm up that fabric and those stitches. And we are just going to work ourselves around. Okay. And then you can see how that's the fussy placement looks on that. That looks nice, right? Okay, I'm going to move my So Simple shapes over here. Again, this guy could get lost so easily, so little. Okay, I'm going to put these here. And we are going to press our 10 by 10 background fabric in half. You know the drill. Half again. And then half again. Okay, let's lay this out. We've got our center little circle here, and I put that in first. You can applique this square. It's on the diagonal. You can applique it on before you lay it down, but you know, it's not that much bulk, so I'm just put it on at this point. And then you're gonna take all of your little bias tape, and the long ones go on that diagonal, and the short ones go on the sides. Okay, take a look. And then it might be nice, like I have used this before, to mark certain blocks. This one I think I'm going to like put my 8.5-inch square up ruler, use my friction pen when everything is centered. You're gonna mark it, so you're mindful of keeping everything on the inside of this. Again, you can press it later to get the markings off. And everything's looking good. It's in the right position. And I'm feeling good that I can start tacking this down with the glue. Oops. So I'm gonna put that right there. Again, I'm gonna just measure how far up. 1.5 inches. I'm gonna put that in center, so 1.5 inches, that's good. I'm feeling really comfortable with that. And now is the time that we are going to glue down all of our, and I'm choosing to put the glue. I do this different ways each time, right? I'm gonna put the glue right on my pressed line, and then I'm gonna adjust my bias tape on top. That seems to work really well. Just little teeny drops, like that. Sometimes I put it directly on the fabric. Okay, those are glued down. Okay. Again, this is on point. So what you want is the point, these points to be lined up. And that's a little bit of bulk, so you can, while you're doing this, always put pins on it to make sure it doesn't move. I haven't used pins for a few of the blocks for a while, but you can grab your pins out. It's nice to have lots of different tools to help you achieve the best results. Okay, that is looking good. I think I need to press that That's the one I worked on. All right, I'm gonna do, I'm just gonna lay out these flowers. So I know like that. And then I'm just gonna lay out that little fussy positioned dot that's on top there. Okay, then you've got, these are the same color. So see these little blue circles? Those are all the same color as this, but they're different prints. So we want to put those every other. So we put that, let's see, there, there, and there. Because it's only on, let's take a look. It's, sorry, I did this wrong. It is the one that has a little circle, then it has like his two little friends on each side. So here we go. Oh, that's got another little thread. Pull that. So there we go. And then this is the other one. So they're different designs. And there and there. Do you see that? So the pattern, look at the pattern. It kind of has these two circles kissing that stem. And it is close to that bottom circle. So I kind of have them, it is closer to the stem than it is that bottom circle. So just kind of take a look and position them accordingly. And just make sure, okay, that's looking pretty good. That's looking pretty good. And then I'm gonna quickly measure again. So we did 1.5 inches up, but to the bottom of that circle, let's see, it's 1.25 inches. So 1.25 inches. So I'm gonna pop that down just a little like that. 1.25 inches. 1.25 inches. There we go. All right, and let's just, and that is 1 inch. So I've got to move those down quite a bit. That's 1 inch. From that tip, inch, inch, and I'm going to take that pin off. 1 inch. Look at that. That's coming together. That's a lot of little pieces, a lot of little fussy work. And then I would go about tacking down all the flowers, all of the little circles, and then checking it again one more time. Because that glue is it's not dried yet, so you can make adjustments. And you just want to see, again, that lined up. The top of that circle on the flower needs to be right in the center there. So you can see your marked lines, and you just have some adjusting to do. That's what's helpful this time, to mark this block. The other blocks, we haven't needed to do it so much since the cotton block, as they say, cotton block, right? Practicing my English. Okay, that's looking really good. So I tacked that all down. A reminder, if you got the clapper, after everything is glued, to put it down, let it dry for at least a couple hours, if not overnight. And we're gonna get started on stitching. Okay, I've already done this London block, so how about we get started on this one? We can get started on this one. So I would stitch this down first. If you haven't already stitched it on before you put your circle on. I would stitch that on first, then I would do the circle, and then I would start working out. You could work on your stems next, but these circles are a little loosey-goosey because you haven't like totally doused them in glue. So I would probably, I would just decide if I did my stems or the circles next. So here, I'm going to show you how I would do the circles. So you're just gonna have to pretend that I have previously done this circle and that circle, because it's gonna be flopping around. And let's roll this up. I'm gonna do this one right here. And that. And do you see how those are fussy cut and they're just all facing towards the center? Isn't that cute? The little stag facing towards the center. And I think this needs to be adjusted slightly because this needs to be closer to this stem. Do you see how it's almost kissing the stem? So I'm gonna move this over. And that's what you get to do when you get to the sewing is like, okay, these two should be closer to this than they are to this circle. So I'm gonna make a little adjustment like that. And you can re-glue it and let it dry, or it's so little, I'm just holding it with my finger. So I'm gonna start with the thread below. Like always, it's already knotted. And this is such a small circle, your thumb is gonna be super helpful when you're appliquing this. Again, you're gonna have to like just pull those edges in. And that interfacing is so nice to grab that we're just gonna pull that in, and I'm gonna start my first stitch right next to the other step, advance underneath. You see that? I'm just gonna slowly work around. There we go. Teeny little stitches. You might be stitching even closer together on this small circle because it really does need it. I pull in that interfacing underneath. Do you see that? I'm just gonna stitch around. Teeny little stitches. I just love doing this. I just love appliquing small things and just enjoying the process, and then seeing this cute little stag of Jane Austen's family crest. I just think it feels so special. And if you've been to London, you know how amazing London is. I think it's one of the great cities in the world. It's probably my favorite city in the whole entire world. And this is a fun block. That's gonna take a lot of patience, and there's just a lot to it, just like there is a lot to London, right? Okay, I'm just pulling that interfacing, working on creating just the smoothest circle that I can. Just going around this sweet little stag. And then we're coming back to where we started, smoothing out that last little edges like that. Here we go. And there we go. There is the circle. You use matching thread so you can see the pull of your stitches, but you can't see your stitches. And that's finished. I go one, maybe two stitches over where I started. Oh, I have this little random thread there, and I just knot underneath. You know me, I usually have to do 2 knots. Clip that off. There you go. So that's how you do the circles. How we would do the rest is I would start at this point, go around, you know, end at this point, but I always start in the center and just making sure that is centered up here. And that's gonna take a little bit of time, but it's gonna be well worth it because this is a beautiful block. So get started on the London block all month long. It is London, and join me next time for our next block, which is Southampton. And take a look at this one. This one is a really beautiful block as well. The circle, there's a lot of circles, not as many as here, but there are more circles, and this is the last of the 8.5-inch blocks. After Southampton, we are gonna do a few Oxford blocks, and then we have some leaf borders. But join me next time for Southampton.